welcome to another episode of One-on-One Talk with iScope Media. Well, increasing crimes against women and cyber crimes have been a major issues in India. And we know how important it is to have the right knowledge in this current times. Well, to enlighten us with all this knowledge required, we have a dynamic lawyer with us today. She is holding postgraduate in law, master in computer applications, and master in business administration. She has penned a number of articles on various legal aspects, especially enlightening women on the rights. Majority of the articles titled under What Law Says being published from Mumbai through a Tamil weekly called Venakam Mumbai, People's Today, and e-papers as well. But she's also a freelance news reader on German radio and sharing views and knowledge on legal matters in talk shows as well. Well, currently practicing lawyer in Honorable Supreme Court of India and Bombay High Court, specialized on women's law and matrimonial law and cyber law as well. She is pursuing her PhD in cyber law. So we know how important it is to talk about cyber law, women's rights. So here we have that dynamic lawyer with us, Selvakumari Natrajan. Welcome to our show, ma'am.
Welcome. I'm so privileged and honored to be here. Thank you for iScope Media to having here.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So let us talk about the basic women rights first that every woman should know about. So according to you, what can they do for it? Like, what should be the rights that every woman should know, and what should they do for it?
The Constitution of India guarantees very basic constitutional rights. If anyone violates these laws like Article 15, 16, 21. So these are these equality before the law, no discrimination by the state, equality of opportunity, equal pay for equal work. That is Article 39D and Article 42. These are the very basic rights. Apart from, every woman have a right to maintenance, right to equal pay, right to dignity and decency, right against the domestic violence, right at workplace, right against the dowry, and every woman right to have free legal aid, right to privacy and private defense. Suppose someone comes for the rape or something, so you have every woman have a right to private defense. So these are the exclusive rights for the woman. If any rights violate, you can approach the court and concern law enforcement authority. You can have your rights.
So, ma'am, moving on, we know this Article 498A. So what is 498A and how is it different from the Dowry Act?
Yeah, actually people are confusing dowry. 498A, it's not, it's a purview under Dowry Act. Some of the cruelty, some of the harassment comes under the 498A, but it's totally different. 498A comes under the IPC, that is Indian Penal Code, and there is that Dowry Act. It's for the prohibition of the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. So then whatever the demands, unlawful demands, unlawful, some kind of valuable, they are harassing women by values, getting some jewelry, some property, any kind of demands, dowry demands comes under the Dowry Prohibition Act. And that very 498A, it deals with the cruelty, that 498 deals with the cruelty by husband or husband of the relatives of a husband of a woman, subjecting her to cruelty. So some of the even the dowry harassment also comes under this act, punishable under this act. So both are, everyone is confusing. It is interesting, section 4 doesn't contain the word dowry at all. So chapter 28 was introduced into the Indian Penal Code. It is it's for husband or relative of the husband of a woman subjecting her cruelty. So so that's why it's a totally different act altogether.
Right. Right, ma'am. So when we talk about domestic violence, we all know that all a person thinks is about the violence from a male. or the husband. But in case of violence by the female in domestic, can a case be filed against ladies like mother-in-law or sister-in-law or anyone in the family?
Yeah, of course, because what is the Dowry Domestic Violence Act says that whatever who are sharing the household, whether husband and wife, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, whoever comes under the one roof, so they who are facing the harassment, then they can go and file it. Not only for that the daughter-in-law goes to against for sister-in-law, mother-in-law, even the sister-in-law comes for the sister-in-law, that is the daughter-in-law. So then who were facing the harassment of domestic violence, the sharing the household, they can go and approach give the domestic violence complaint against them. So even mother-in-law go against for the daughter-in-law also. Daughter-in-law go against the sister-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, etc. So whoever comes under the purview of this domestic violence.
Right. I'm just going maybe off the record a little, but we know, especially in today's world, mother-in-laws are actually, they are more subjected to domestic violence after, India has grown, people have different cultures now. So once a woman is married to a man, and the mother-in-law faces more domestic violence. So why do you think in India, basically, people are not filing those cases? They just leave their mother at times in the orphanage home or anything like that.
Yes, there is a law is that Senior Citizen Protection Act. So they can go and complain against the son and daughter, even daughter-in-law. Whenever whatever the harassment they are facing, there is a special act called Senior Citizen Protection Act. So they can go and give complaint against that particular act also, as well as the Domestic Violence Act also. Even mother-in-law have a rights to complete full rights have to go and give complaint against the daughter-in-law. So whatever the harassment is basing at the domestic level at home.
Right.
Any adult male can go against the female of that domestic violence. Suppose if most of the time it's a stigma, then any man cannot go and file a domestic violence against the women. So some of the cases in modern society, some women are harassing the husband.
Yes.
And other male members of the house also. They also have rights to go and file against the complaint. There is a section 2Q added in the Domestic Violence Act. So now it's a provision. Earlier it was only for the woman. Everyone says that the Domestic Violence Act for the women. Of course it's for women, but if it is any male suffered for the harassment, domestic violence, he also go and give complaints against his wife or father-in-law or something. It depends who's harassing to whom.
Yeah, right. Ma'am, we know the increasing depressions and mental health issues that's going on, right? So will the mental harassment also come in within this law?
Yeah, of course, mental cruelty, not only the physical harassment, even mental harassment also comes under domestic violence. What kind of, suppose they are giving in front of so many people, suppose we are having party at home, so they are calling by, suppose even we South Indians are more in darker colors, they can call by, Kala, Kali, some kind of thing. Some ladies are fat. They can call by elephant. This kind of harassment. This is it's causing lots of mental against particular in front of so many people. So this kind of mental harassment, mental cruelty also comes under the Domestic Violence Act.
Right.
Have you might be seen the movie called Tappad. That is Tapsi Pannu for Tappad. Then this comes under the mental cruelty.
Right. Now it's quite clear to me, and I'm sure our audience is also quite clear about these things. So moving on to the cyber law, we want to know what all comes under, I'm sure this is a vast thing, but just to precise, what all comes under the cyber law along with the cyberbullying? Because when it comes to cyber law, we all know that cyberbullying is the main thing. So what all comes under this?
The cyberbullying, whatever the message you are sending, posting against a particular person, that person feels humiliate or harassment. So whatever you're sending by picture, by body shaming, or pulling her to to evading her privacy, some sending her personal information to the online to spread everyone. It's basically that the cyberbullying happens in the social media like Facebook,
Right.
Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, etc., etc. So then this suppose some particular sensitive information spreading, via online. So that causes the cyberbullying. That's also cyberbullying, sending pictures, personal pictures, and sending her personal sensitive information to in the domestic when spreading. So these are the comes under the cyberbullying, and there is a law, Cyber Information Technology Act, Information Technology Act 2000 and 2008, Amendment Act 2008. Along with the Indian Penal Code, there is a punishment is there. The minimum punishment is 3 years of imprisonment along with the fine is there. So what kind of, it's a, as you said, it's a cyber bullying or cyber law is very vast. So what kind of harassment they are facing by? So based on that, the punishment will be there accordingly.
Right. Right.
The quantum of punishment, there is the what kind of that harassment that particular girl or woman
Has gone through. Yeah. Right. Right. Ma'am, when it comes to eve teasing, we all know it has been a major issue in India. And if we talk about eve teasing, we majorly think about it happens in person. Like we are going and someone is saying something and something like that. But what if a woman is teased or harassed or forced to talk on social media platforms, which is very, very common nowadays? Like usually a guy messages to a girl or a girl messages to a guy, you can say either way, and they're forced to talk. Even if they deny to talk, they're forced to talk. They said, talk to me, and it goes for years. So can a case be filed against them? And if it can be, then how do we do that?
Yeah, of course. The cyber stalking, it's a eve teasing. It comes and it's like a stalking. Then eve teasing to tease someone, to harass someone, to make a livid messages. I've seen comments on her, the particular women. So who were in on the street. The same way when you're passing any lewd comments or any unwanted, that the girl is not comfortable to by sending messages or something like that. This is also comes under harassment only. This is cyber stalking comes under comes under cyber stalking definition of comes under the definition of the cyber stalking. So the boy or that particular man follows the girl by using computers, using by GPS trackers or something, one or other way, by email for messages, by social media. See, he is continuously following that girl and harassing her by sending messages and any unwanted, like any to disturb her privacy. So this everything comes under that harassment only. This is you should have a punishment under section 354D. So the 354D covers the all kind of cyber stalking, all kind of the harassment, even the modesty against the human. 354D. These are the section attracts this kind of the harasser online. Right. Along with some of the Information Technology Act also, then you can. So then this kind of any kind of harassment or any women facing by, they can go to cybercrime.government.in. So this is the website that all kind of cyber crimes. There is a forms available. Then you can just click the form. Each and everything by, for example, cyber stalking, cyber bullying, or privacy, or ID theft, or what kind of harassment you are going through by online. So that the pop-ups menu will be there. Then accordingly, that online forms will be there. Then you can fill it up. Then you can leave it. Then whenever the authority, that cyber police official call you, then you have to have some evidence. When you are going for this everything happens online. Then it's difficult to prove that. So basically, we need whatever the communication you are getting from the stalkers, then you can get the screenshot or some kind of evidence. You need to collect it basically. Whatever the comments you are getting, then just take a screenshot. Suppose you're coming by the messenger, you take a screenshot, or by email, then you can preserve it. So along with this particular form, then you can attach these evidence also. Then if it is then the cyber police call that person. If you have, if suppose you know that who's harassing you, so that it's well better to harass that particular person. If you don't know, then you have to get all the details like evidences.
Right.
Just take the screenshot, captures, etc., etc. So then by that, then you can get the remedies.
Okay. So what is the punishment for that?
It comes under 354D. That's what kind of harassment you're facing by. Suppose
okay, it varies.
Yeah, it varies. It's maximum punishment is 3 years. Suppose the person already he convicted, then again 7 years. It's subsequent the conviction under section 354D,
right,
including provision of the stalking, which also covers cyber stalking also.
Okay, right. So, ma'am, does a breach of privacy, especially through ethical hacking, we know a lot of ethical hackers are across the world, at times, but they are ethical hackers for that particular company they are working for. But at the same time, that is used for something else. So does that come under cyber law, and what are the steps to proceed for such a case?
Yeah, there is no ethical hackers. Only ethical hackers, the only authorized person appointed for the technical, technical person.
Right.
So this should be authorized by the law enforcement agencies like police official or court. Then rest of the people who are doing the ethical hacker, there is no ethical hacker. All hackers are hackers only. It's not considered ethical hackers. Only the police person for some to crack some cases, to reach the cyber criminals, cyber frauds. For that purpose, that the police official or court can appoint a technical cyber security person. They is technically expert in this particular field. So they will appoint the particular person. That should be very confidential, and that particular person account only can be hacked, not everyone's account. So whoever hacked your account, whoever following your alter your this comes under Information Technology Act 43. So whatever the hackings comes under the section 43 of the IT Act. So then whoever alter your computer, whoever alter your message, whoever touch your phone, even touching your phone also it's a hacking only.
Yeah.
As per the definition of the IT law. So someone is having, without your permission, without your consent, whoever hacking, whoever touched your phone, whoever altered your message, it comes under hacking. So they have a punishment.
So if anyone without our information or any particular person's information, they're having GPS tracking on us, or through their knowledge, they know to do it. So it will come under the same act?
Yeah, it comes under Cyber Act as well as the IPC, Indian Penal Code. The punishment will be there. Without permission, without your consent, whoever do anything against you, against the women, against any person, any human being, comes under this act. So it's basically it comes under the privacy. Everyone have their own privacy. No one to evade their privacy. No one can follow by GPS or something. Whatever the technology they are using and following and harassing you, it's not permissible under law. So they are punishable under as per whatever the crime they are committed by comes under the particular law, either by IPC or IT Act. Suppose we are talking about the cyber law, then it comes under IT Act as well as the IPC, Indian Penal Code.
Right, ma'am. I just had, before we wind up, I just had a small question. So we know a lot of students, mainly of age, from 12 to 17, who are minors mainly, actually are having social media platforms. And if we see, a lot of harassment actually happens there also. So what kind of punishment? Are the punishments same for both, or will it vary for a minor?
Yes, even in the comes under as per the IT law, that even minors also get the punishment, because after the Nirbhaya case, that 18 years of old, there is a lots of changes, because the mental maturity of that particular person, whether the 16 years boys having the mental mature will be the higher than the adult. So that he also comes under punishment as per the adult. The punishment will be as per the adult. So how then we are treating as adult, the same punishment will applicable for them also. It depends what kind of harassment they are doing using the social platforms.
Right, ma'am. It was great talking to you, ma'am. Thank you for enlightening us with all these knowledge. I'm sure cyber law and both women's right is a very important topic right now. And also, like we talked about, both the sides of the story, even if it comes to Dowry Act or even if it comes to further rights of, domestic violence. Thank you for enlightening us so much. And I'm sure a lot of audience watching this show right now would have been clear about what to do and what not to do in future. So thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having give me an opportunity to this.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So thank you for watching One-on-One Talk with iScope Media.